Hello everyone, yes, in this video we're gonna talk about giants. So yes, I finally am going to make this video, many of you have been requesting, and stay tuned if you want to know everything I know about giants and all of the different strategy and things you need to think about when it comes to getting your first giant until the end of giants, even past where I am at right now. So stay tuned for that. The first thing, oh yeah, maybe I should take this quest here, that's not bad. The first thing you have to think about is that you have to get 100 metallics to be able to enter roof. And before that, you will not be even possible to get a giant, right? So there are some requirements to get giants. The first thing is that you need to get inside of groove, and that you will get when you have 100 in metallic score. So that is the first requirement. The first thing you're gonna find when you unlock this one is that you're gonna find the ascended egg here that you have in your automation generation station here. First, inside of here you will get the ascended egg, and then you're gonna start to get the team with the best team with full of mythicals and ascended instead of prodigious and ascended in there. So that's where you're gonna have that. Okay, so what is the other requirements to get the giant? Well, you have to mine an egg, right? So this is the first common egg, and what you're gonna see is that this is the first. You can only mine the common egg in the beginning. I'm gonna come back to a little bit why later on, because there are some dependency. But to be able to mine this egg here, there is one requirement to be able to mine it. You need a pickaxe. You need a pickaxe that can mine common eggs. The first pickaxe you have here is this one here, which is the stone pickaxe. As you can say, it can mine common giant eggs. You can also see the next pickaxe is the one for common egg, and so on, and then you have rare, epic, legendary, and so on for the different pickaxes. I'm gonna come back a little bit later on when to choose the different pickaxes, but for beginning you will only be needing the stone pickaxe. Okay, so let's say you have the stone pickaxe, you can get over here and you can start mining, right, to try to get a giant. So, well, will you necessarily get a giant? And what is the requirement to get a giant? Well, then we have to go into the giant here, and we have to read the 101 for giant. When you hit a pentastrike, your giant lock will be rolled. Oh, it's a when you hit a pentastrike. Okay, so while I'm mining here, I need to get something called pentastrike. So how is that working? Well, that is working so that you have over here something that's called a strike lock. So you have the first one is called double strike lock. So when you see I was mining there, I just got normal mine, but sometimes I get like a 2 and a 3 symbol and so on. So you first need to get the double strike lock. And this percentage here is telling you the percentages to get the strike lock. When you have got a double one, then you need to get a triple one. So you need first to get a double, then a triple on the same roll. And then if you get a triple one, you will get a quadra one. And then if you got a quadra one, then you will get that penta. Yeah, right, so then you will get this penta that we was talking about there. So you need to get a double, triple, quadra and penta. That means the chance for this is really low. As you can also feel, if you press 3 on the keyboard, go to the badges and go to the stats page, scroll down, you can also see these down here. Double strike lock, triple strike lock, quadra strike lock and penta strike lock. And you see it comes harder and harder. The more you have to, because they have to come in a row. So when we gonna go back to here to 101 here, it says if successful you will receive +1 giant skin only if you have a titanium for that type. Okay, so there's two things in this sentence here. It say if successful. Okay, why does it say if successful? Well, if successful is because of this one here. Giant lock. Yes, so you have a giant lock here. So this, depending on this giant lock that you have here, that will be roll. So when you have got a penta, then there will be a giant lock roll, and that you also can see on this statistic page on the down here on the bottom here. So you need to get a penta to get a giant lock roll. For this giant lock roll, you also have this rune stone upgrade that is over here. that you can't enter it from before you get into a groove here, and then you can open a stone that is here. So then you have this one that also can multiply that giant lock up to, there's 200 upgrades on each one of these here at the moment in the update we are working in currently when I make this video. So you can get 20% better chance of here, 1 times 1.2. So this is helping tremendously. But when we are going back here, talking about this giant lock here, so that is what is in that sentence there, what we are looking into here. So if successful, so if you then have got all of these successful, then you get a giant lock successful, then we are coming to the next thing, which is was saying here, you will receive a +1 giant skin only if you have a titanium for that pet type. So what does that mean? Then we have to go back to metallic. So basically in the beginning you have to have common titaniums, right? So basically it then, if let's say I got a roll, I get everything here and giant lock there, but the pet I am getting then is a spotted dog. What will happen then is they will come up a zone and really bad zone there, which is telling that I got a giant but I lost it, so I didn't get a giant skin there. And as you see in the example here, it's a giant one giant skin, right? It's not a giant pet, it's a giant skin. So you basically have to then have that in the titanium, the one that you need, right? So as you can see here, so if I turn on this replace titanium icon, here you can see all of those I actually can get as a titanium. And you can see I have a possibility to get all except 2 of them. And this is when this is coming in here. Look here, all collected pets. Common, there are 42 of them. So you see they are pretty okay to get. The hardest one you're gonna have when you're gonna come later in Giant is the rare one. You need to get 6 of them. It's gonna be easier in the end than it's just the gold. But we're gonna come back to that later in this video. So when we go back here now, so then we kinda know about how this is working, right? So let's say you got a white, let's say I got the mole. Okay, I got a giant mole. But then when I have got this giant mole, so I had the titanium, I got it, everything and so on, then we will have shiny lock, will then be rolled to try to get +1 shiny giant skin. So that means if when I have got 1 giant skin, it will also check if I also get a shiny skin in addition to the giant skin. It's not going to be replaced, but it's going to come in addition. So then we're going to have a shiny lock roll, and that shiny lock roll is simply the standard lock that we have, shiny lock we have in the game. So that is what is using there. Of course you have some leveler to boost up, and you have other ways to boost up now with the lab update and so on. So you can actually boost that shiny lock if you really want to do that. But at least that is how it works, how to get a giant and also how to get a shiny giant. So then what we are then coming into, and then we also have this mining speed in the game here in the beginning. So the question is, when should I try to go for my first giant? Well, it's a very open question. There is many different strategies for this, but there are 3 points that you have to think about. Point number 1 is the metallic that you have. It's how many titanium metallics you have. I would not recommend to start to try to get your first giant before you at least have 40%. So 40% of those 42 that you have here. So 40% of your common metallic ones should be level 5 titanium here. The most recommended is to wait up to get up to 70%, because if you start now to 40% here, you're probably then gonna have big problems trying to get the uncommons, because then you have very few uncommons, and then you have sitting with another problem. I'm gonna come back to why that's gonna be a problem, because there is a dependency getting the uncommon towards getting the common ones. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to that sooner or later. So that is the first thing you have to think about. So at least 40% of your titanium metallic common ones, it needs to be there. The second one is the strike luck chance. That's this one here, right? So I think that you should try to get these up to about 10%. Of course, it can work on 8%. It could work on lower than 10%. But I would recommend to at least get them up to close to 10%, each one of these, all of them. And always start with upgrade this for then, and this, and so on over there. The reason why is that because I think you get a little bit stones. It's not much of stones. We get a little bit additional stones by upgrading this first, because then you get more double strikes in there, right? And if you upgraded this one first here, maybe statistics say this is the most important one. In a way, it's not the best one in here. So that is the way I do that. But also don't forget to update your metallic luck and the other stone upgrades that you have. So at this point, look at the cost of the stone upgrades and upgrade the stone upgrades with the lowest cost. So also upgrade your metallic luck and also the other stone upgrades that you may have remaining when you are at this position. So that is the second thing to go for there. And the last thing that is problem is the gold income. Yes, you know this famous thing that we are calling gold, right? So there's many factors that can increase your gold income now in this update. You can look at my gold videos, how to earn max gold. You also have the lab update now, and you also have a possibility, like you see here. I just bought an 8-hour today, and it's sometimes that I did that, but I did it today because I wanted to have a little bit boost because of a special egg I wanted to hatch. So basically gold is also very important, and you should aim to have minimum 1 billion, but it will be better if you are closer to 5 billion when you start doing this, because you really want to be able to both mine but also be able to put on some leveler and so on, right? So that is a good way of doing that. Another really good thing that you have in this game here is the lab update. So the lab update did came out from a little bit time ago. It is not a part of Rebirth Guide 4, but I have a good video about telling about everything in the lab update, so go check out that video about lab update. So lab update is quite important, and also this cloning is very important in many ways for the lab update. I'm not going to go into detail for these things here, but basically the lab update is helping you tremendously to boost a lot of things, right? So you can, especially when it comes to giant, you can boost your gold income and so on in many different ways. You can boost your shiny luck, and you can also boost your income of stone so that you can do the upgrades. And later on you also have these pre-update upgrades so that you can upgrade the strike luck, and you can even also upgrade the speed when you have this top one. This costs 5 million stones, so this is a little bit later in the game. You're probably gonna get this one when you are on your rare or epic giants. That's about approximately where you're gonna have this one, unless you had tremendous stone from before. But the lab update is a tremendously good update there, and go look on my wiki page to find a lot of different lab updates. I'm putting up more and more of them there, and hopefully I would have those updates, those different configurations that you can use on that wiki page there. So the next thing I really then want to talk about is mythical stones, right? Because you see these stones here is tremendously to get in. And what is actually the best way to get mythical stone? Some people do buy this axe here very early on because it give you 10% more mythical stone. Well, I just to say that in the beginning that is a waste of money. Sorry to say that, but the reason why it is a waste in the money, just think about this. If I stand on remember I have a really good mining axe here now, right? And you see here, I do not get many stones on this. I got like one here and there, and I have a mining speed of 1.92. You're probably gonna have a mining speed of less than 1.5, right? And so you basically almost never gonna get any stones. So 80% to 90% of your stone income, or even maybe even more, it's gonna come from the generation station that you're gonna have there, because you can take ascended egg. So in the beginning, most of your stone income is gonna come through the generation station. That means also in the lab update, it's much more important to upgrade like egg lock, cloning, and qualification lock than upgrading these here. These 3 here is coming in later on. I'm gonna talk about that very soon there. So basically there is no point buying these axes here for getting better stone income before you're getting to the epic egg, right? So when you're getting to about the epic egg is about the turnaround. When you're getting to epic egg and you're getting high up the epic egg, I am not even there yet, right? This is the team I have. But when I have like come a little bit further, maybe start on my first legendary ones, I probably can start then to earn more stones on mining than I can do on this auto generation, so on. And in that point, then you can maybe evaluate to buy a one better pickaxe than you have. But carefully to think about that. I'm not been able to think about doing it because the axes costing quite a lot. 2.25 million here. I can do several upgrades on the other ones for the same price. So it's like a cost effort here. You have to analyze that. So I do not recommend to go and save and buy too much pickaxe too early. I think you lose efficiency for that. So then we are then talking about when the turn point is. As you can see, for me, I think the turning point is when you have your... I haven't done it mathematically 100%, but I'm quite sure when the epic egg is turning like 70% chance or something like that, or when you have a more than 50% chance on the legendary egg, I think the turning point is around here. I do not know 100% yet, and so on, but it is around that this, let's say, when you're passing this post here, then you're gonna earn more stones. But definitely, when you are on this rare and epic egg, your income from stones is gonna be better. So what you can be using there is that you can go over here and you can be boosting this here, right? So then you can do that. And when you are boosting in this one here, you can be using this 2 times here, which is going to be fine there, right? So I just got a phone call here that I can't call because I'm making video. But then I'm gonna continue here. So you can be starting using this a little bit more. In the beginning, I actually think it's good to have this one here, right? So then we are now talking about, okay, you want to get your first giant. Let's say you have got this requirement, you have 40% of your metallic titanium commons, you have a strike lock at, let's say, 9-10%, and you have an income of 1 billion, right? And you have managed to save up some gold. What you can use then to help you get your first giant is, first of all, over here, you can be looking over here on this one here. Let me see here. You have different levelers that you have here. The first one is making more stone. It's actually no point to use it in the beginning. I did use it in the beginning, but as we was talking about, there is almost no point using it. So this is better to use later on when you are past the rare egg. You can start using it. Epic and legendary and so on is gonna be like on your legendary and up. It's gonna be almost a mandatory one to get that 50% mythical stones there. But the best one to start with, if you want to boost here, is this one, the Penta Strike. That's what's gonna it's gonna make the Penta 2 times more. This is the one that's gonna help you the most to get your first giant. The most efficient one is the giant luck one, and the most super efficient one is these two together. So if you can save up amount of gold to put on these two here, then this egg is, of course, the egg that was costing 1 billion per hit is now gonna cost 50 billion per hit, right? So, but if you have saved up a lot of gold, then you can do this, especially 2-time gold weekend. It's very good to do that. And then when you have these two on, in addition to that, I'm just gonna turn this off so you can see the cost correctly. And then additional to that, then you can go over here. I have some videos showing this. and then you can save up stones here, and you buy 1 titanium blade and 1 titanium handler. So these are also gonna boost your luck tremendously. Then you're gonna have 1000 try to get one. And at this point, this is helping you tremendously. I have to say, later on in the game, these two are almost not working. I'm actually getting about the same when I don't use them as when I use them. Later in game, the 2 times stones is much more important. So I'm using of course I'm trying to use these sometimes, especially when I go up to a new egg. I try to use them because their chance is low and so on, that you just boost and see if I can get lucky. But I normally use that stone boost here instead. So basically this is the first tips for getting your first giant there. And also we was just talking about these axes then. So basically back to the axes, have this one on when you have common egg, get this one when you want to start with the uncommon egg, get this one to get when you want to start with a rare egg, and so on going up there. Okay, so there is a quite important thing there for doing that. So what we need to do then is that, let's say you have got your first giant here. You got 1 common giant here, and they say, oh yes, then I want to go for the uncommon one. Well, it's not gonna go so well. It's gonna be the biggest waste ever in the game. You're first saving up for this one, and then you're gonna try to get this one here. Do you know what that's you have seen this percentage stone here? This one is 0% until you buy that axe, right? And also, and so on. So when you get this, so this is 100% when you can start mining in it, so on. Yeah, there's a reason this is 100%, because that's the first egg. But for this one here, this one is 0% as long as you have got giant ones, of common ones. Because the uncommon one is dependent on how many common giants you have got. So if you have got 1 giant, uncommon, common giant here, it's gonna be the percentage that the percentage here, it's gonna be 1 divided by 42, and that's not big chance. So that is just how it is. Let's say you have managed to get 42 of these, do you get every one of them, then it's going to be 100%. And as you see for me, in the case, I have 3 missing. So I have got 39 out of 42, and you see I have 92.9% of them. So this is the why coming in this number. And how does this number actually work, right? What does this number say about this strike chance here? Well, it is basically all of these percentage that you have down here. So mine right now without any levels on and so on is 1 in 9,000. But then this one here is going to be added in there. So when it's 1 in 9,000, because when I basically I'm gonna show this easier with another egg here. Let me go for the epic egg here. Let me see mining. Do you see there? Whiff. Every time it's a whiff, right? You see there? You're missing. You're losing an opportunity. You're still paying for it. And if you have booster, you're still gonna use the booster. So for me, almost a little bit more than half of my hits is gonna be a whiff. So this means when I am here now, when I do mine on this egg here, what I'm gonna have here is that I'm gonna have the percentage of a giant luck here, 1 in 9,334, right? And that's gonna be times 0.929. So the chance is gonna be worse than that. It's gonna be like 7-8% worse than what you have there. And in addition to that, as you understand, it's also gonna matter on how many uncommon metallics do I actually have here. You can see I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So I'm missing 7 of them. So that number again, so it's gonna be the percentage I have already times this one here times 41 divided by 48. So basically the chance of getting one here is way lesser than it looks like, right? So you have to take first, I'm just going to repeat that again. First you have to take the chance that you have here, which is 0.011. You have to time that with 92.9%. That will say you time it with less than 1. So that point here is going to be less than 0.011. And then you have to time it with the percentage of uncommon titanium skins you have. That's first then when you know how much you have. So my realistic, without using calculator here, is not 1 in 9,000. It is probably 1 in 13,000 maybe. So it's a little bit less than that. So what you see here, when you want to get further on the eggs, these are depending on each other. So when you then look on, for instance, my rare egg here, it's 77.4%, right? That means it's gonna be the chance of getting a giant times how many uncommons I have, commons I have, times how many uncommons I have, and it's gonna then also times how many metallic titaniums I have of those rare as well. So, and here you see I'm missing even more of them. So my realistic number when I go in to look at the stats here is not in 1 in 9,000. This 1 in 9,000 is independent of how many giants you have from before of the different types, and also independent of how many titanium metallic you have as well. So it's gonna be that chance times this percentage here times the percentage of how many titaniums I have of that type. So basically this is what many people has misunderstood, and the farther out you go here, the harder it's going to be to get this one. And if you see I'm gonna try to take the legendary now, I can't, because I don't have the axe for it. So when I want to go for the legendary, I could in theory now actually save up to the axe for legendary, because when I have 10% chance, and if I was standing here mining 1 or 2 days, I would probably get 1 legendary. But I know that I did that on the epic one, and I lost some time on it. So I'm gonna wait to try to get this up against 40%, and then I'm gonna start to go for the legendary. Maybe I try to get a little bit before, but that is basically when I'm gonna try to take this. I know this video is a little bit long. We are 27 minutes into the video, but this is what you need to know if you want to know about giants. It's a lot of things here, but there are still more to get here for what you're gonna have. So this is about the levels of the giants and so on. So what is also that's one of the limitation that you're gonna have. But another limitation is your gold income, right? So your gold income is gonna be a huge limitation, because if I want to have this rare giant egg here, I really want to try to get it. And you see now it's 5 billion, and I don't have 5 billion, even with the 2 time. So that's gonna make it harder. Like, oh, sorry, Master J. It was totally not with purpose. Sorry. Okay, that's just how it is sometimes, right? So for me at this point here, it is kind of sorry, 5 billion. I was not looking here, but let's say I have all of these here and all of this one here. So 5 billion, of course, I have at the time for that, because I'm earning trillions now. Sorry for that. But let's say like if I have this here, right? Because it would be nice for me to have a 2-time stone on it. Yeah, of course, if I've saved up an additional gold here, or it's a 2-time gold weekend, I could do this one. But basically, I need to go back here and try to take down this one here. For me, it is better to get more giants than getting more stones at the moment. I'm gonna try to explain of that, because there is always, like in this game here, there are different thresholds that you have to think about. Okay, so this means that we are now gonna talk about late game giants. And what is the different limitation you have? So gold income is a limitation. So what is important in late game when it comes to focus? Should I focus to get fast up to better eggs here to improve the damage from my team? Because that's gonna tremendously improve my income if I can do that. But if I go too fast doing that, it's gonna take a really long time to do that, and I'm gonna use all of my gold getting that and maybe not something else, right? So what is the main focus points to get as fast as possible to the end here? Well, basically, one of us... Okay, I have to fix Master J here. So, yeah, okay, he's fixed again. So, one of the main thing I am focusing on is basically, of course, getting as good team as I can, but with all of the regulation rules that I have been talking about. But what I really are trying to get is a tremendous of shiny skins. Shiny is tremendously important, right? And why is it so important? Yeah, well, that is probably a good question, right? Why is shiny skin so important? Why is it so important to try to get this shiny luck as low as possible? And why is it so important to have like different builds here that's going to give you tremendously of stones or a lot of egg luck in some of this build here, right? Why do you need a lot of egg luck? Okay, of course I didn't have the egg luck build here because I've been making builds for the page here, but I have a lot of builds that give me tremendous of egg luck because I want to get a lot of luck here so that I get all of the shiny as mythical to get better shiny mythical score, right? And also to increase the damage of my team because I get shiny mythical. Well, there are two things. The damage of these pets is dependent on your strongest metallic pet. My strongest metallic pet is the one that has the most shiny skin of. As you're gonna see here, it's now the mythical ones. And the one I have the most of is... what is it actually? It's actually the Lycamir at the moment. I have 29,293 of that. So every time I get a new skin for that, the team damage is gonna go up tremendously, and it's gonna go up faster and faster the higher of these giants is. And the reason for that, I'm just gonna go over to the scoreboard and I'm gonna show you exactly why that is. So this is one very important. So shiny skins is very important for the damage that you have of your team, regardless of which giant you're gonna have. So if you have a good shiny score, it's gonna give you a much better damage regardless of which one you have. Of course, a higher tier is better and better. You see the epic ones is 10 times here. The shiny rare one is 15 times. And you see it's go 20, 30, 50, 70, 60 and so on. It increased tremendously when the higher you get up. But there is another factor that is very important. Goal income. Goal income is so tremendously important in this game here. It has been important from the very start to the very end, both for continue doing the wall upgrades. You see mine is a 30 QD at the moment, and also the shiny one in there is very high as well, because you know me, I'm upgrading all wall upgrades at the same cost. But then we're gonna talk about the biggest factor for the gold income, right? There's many factors for gold income depending where you have your pets. Okay, when you have stronger pets, what you earn inside of the mine there, you can see I'm earning 3 trillion in there. If I move my pets out here, you're gonna see my income is gonna fall tremendously. And this is the reason why super players is not boosting that much often. We have seen that is in my streams and so on. Of course I can do missions, but that don't give me much. And you see the gold income here is just going down, 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 and down, and down. So it is so much difference in gold income, even though in this video I can't have my pets out here. I'm gonna lose so much. So where you have your pets is very important. And then it's coming on a question. People say, oh no, but I want to have them in here because of exotic score. You know, yeah, the exotic score that we have down here, it's 1875 million I have here, because it's so important to have good exotic score, because that's giving you better gold income. That was something that come later in game, right? But what I found out, and I'm gonna show you now, and this is one of the key, this is for you that watching the video to know, I'm gonna give you the big secret that I am using to try to get up and getting up on these different leaderboards, again the pet collector leaderboards and so on, and trying to pass people that has been in front of me. Is the shiny skin is very important, and also this one, what to go for. And that's what I'm gonna explain right now again, right? So if we go in here and look into that, and people say, yeah, it's so important to get a good exotic score, I would say no, it's not so important. Maybe in future updates, if you are watching this video after we got a new update, hopefully it's gonna be a new area behind here, with something, I don't know, it's gonna maybe gonna get these giants in different versions. Maybe you're gonna get giants in the chrome, gold, diamond, oak, and so on, but we don't know about that. But this glittering gold, this now the prosperous ground has become really important early game. Actually, it's actually something you're gonna have to try to get as fast as you can. You see that in my rebirth guide 4. So yeah, okay, that exotic score that I have there. So this is a pro. Is actually the 875 there. You can see it again in here. It's 1 plus that number, so it's 975, right? So it's increasing my gold income almost 10 times. That's quite a lot of gold income increased, right? 10 times! That is a lot! But there is something that is like often other worlds much better than this, right? And I'm gonna show it. And also to increase this to get higher takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of time. As you have there, even though we do this exotic crystal score, but we do that for the players who is early and mid game. It's not for the end players, but at some point and quite mid game, there is another factor that is so much, tremendously more. Remember, it's what 9.75 times. Okay, remember 9.75 times, and it's a pretty big number, but it's not that big when you look at this number. Okay. What is biggest of 9.75 and 123.5? Okay, let me think. 123.5 is bigger than 9.5, and it's not just a little bit bigger, it's tremendously bigger. And this is glittering gold. And what do you get glittering gold from? Well, earn a gold multiplier based on your shiny score. Okay. Did we hear it again? Yes, shiny! We are back again to the shiny score! Well, this is so tremendously important. And is it difficult to get more shiny score? No, it's very easy. And are we gonna get more and more of shiny score? Yes, because we have Ascended Egg, we're gonna have more mythical here, we can have egg lock that we are boosting up. Like right now, I'm not boosting egg lock at all, but you can get egg lock up to 75% here. That's the highest you can boost it to. And that's helping you tremendously to get more shiny. And then you get more shiny luck and so on. And it's just not that. It's adding it up together. So if you just go over the bridge here, we have the one that's called Expert Luck. Well, this is making your shiny luck even better. And look at that factor, 3.48. And look how fast it is going up there. It's just going up really fast. And this is making it even better to get shiny skins. This factor that we have here inside of this 66.30 number. So that is helping tremendously. And not only that, also we have this fossil record. So while you're mining, and the further you get into the giants, you can get then more pet score from your mining. And let's say when you pass the epic, you're gonna get tremendously much more stones, right? And that means tremendously much more pet score. And what's that gonna mean? Well, it's gonna mean tremendously more expert luck, because you're getting more score there. As you can see, my pet score is now soon 25 million. It is not far away, since it was quite low. So my strategy is simply going for shiny and getting a lot of pet luck and so on. And I'm gonna go really good for that. So yeah, that is tremendously important to know about that. So please, that is basically the main strategy I'm gonna really go for there. So glittering gold is important, shiny is important. So to increase your gold income and to increase your chance of getting better pet and getting more stones, everything there is going to be main focus around that. Okay, so this is basically almost everything about the giant and so on. But I'm gonna show you the last thing now. So there is some upgrades that we haven't been talking about, but I really hope this is helping you to understand more about giant and the strategy I'm doing around giant. It has taken some time to be kind of investigate to find out how this is. Of course I can do all of this showing you an Excel sheet and so on, but I don't think that's the best. I think we need to enjoy the game. I have my Excel sheet inside of my head, right? And I also put in something else. An Excel sheet will never beat a game. it's the mentality and your focus that's gonna beat a game. And that's what you can learn while following in my YouTube, and that's what I want to get you guys also to understand, and so on. So we have some more things in the background here that we haven't been really talking about then, and it's this one new here. You have the shimmering gold. So this also earn a gold multiplier based on your shiny giant score. So this is for end game players, way beyond me. So this is gonna be when you're probably having your ascended team or something like that. Maybe you can get it then, or with your mythical. And then you have this prismatic shine that is gonna increase your shiny luck based on your giant score. Yeah, shiny luck. So yeah, shiny luck. Yeah, like this luck that is already quite good there. Well, with this one here, getting this one here, you can get shiny luck in one. Every pet can be shiny, and imagine how much shiny score you're gonna get. And imagine when you stand in the end here, how many mythical stones you can get at the same time as you just get a tremendously, and plus clone luck and cloning and so on. How many shiny skins you're gonna get, and how many stones you're gonna get. Your damage and your gold income is gonna go mental in the game. I can't wait to get there. It's gonna be so nice to get there, and some people is there already, so it is gonna be crazy. So well, that is what I have to say about the giant. I hope I not have been missing anything right now. We have been talking on the boosting, we are talking about the leveler, we are talking about all of the different upgrades that we have inside of here, and also we talk about the runestone upgrade in there as well. You're gonna understand yourself when you're gonna do that. I have my own video about runestone, I have own video about shiny, I have own video about metallic, so you have to watch those videos. I can't cover everything in this video here, but hopefully this is helping you. So thank you. This was number 1 Gamer Dad Viper Toffee. Hope this is gonna be the yeah, I don't know. Go check my index, go check my YouTube, have fun. See you on my next stream. Thank you and bye bye.